How often should you train your arms? All right, I'm going to break down with you what I've done, what I've experimented with over the past 12-ish years of training, and what I found to work best for me, okay? And then hopefully you can apply that to your own training to get more out of your arm growth, out of your arm training. So it depends on how early you are in your lifting journey, in your arm growth journey, okay? And if you're just starting out, I think you should start right away with just once a week and maintain that for a couple weeks and be consistent, all right? After you've built that up and you've been working out for 6 months consistently, I would put you into the intermediate category. Then I recommend that you train your arms a little bit more frequently. So I think resting like 3, 4, 5 days in between is going to be ideal for you. And then once you're more experienced, I think you can tap into what is going to be the ideal amount of frequency, which is to hit your arms on 2 or 3 days rest. I've taken it to the extreme. Every day is arm day. I don't know if you guys are familiar with C.T. Fletcher, but that was kind of his claim to fame. He's got gigantic arms, bigger than most people's legs, and his big thing was that he was hitting arms every day. So I was like, all right, boss, let me try it out.
The first year and a half that I trained in the gym, every time I stepped in the motherfucking gym, I worked arms because I was determined to get some big ass motherfucking arms. Somebody gonna tell you that that ain't the way you do it, and it don't work that way. You be overtraining. Fuck, I already told you. Fuck you overtraining motherfuckers. For a year and a half, every time I stepped in the gym door, I worked motherfucking arms because it was my magnificent obsession to have big motherfucking arms.
One of the downsides is that you have to lower some of your other training parameters, meaning your intensity and your volume. I found it almost impossible to maintain really high intensity, meaning taking each set to failure and doing lots of sets, the volume, if I'm going to be hitting the arms with the frequency of every single day. So there's kind of a bit of give and take. If you want to max out your frequency and train super often, it's going to affect some of the other parameters in your training, like intensity, volume. And the reason that is because you got to think about your recovery, meaning you go into the gym to stimulate growth, and then you grow outside of the gym when you're eating well, when you're resting. And so those things are going to factor into how often you should train, right? If you have really good recovery, you might be able to train more often. If you get a great sleep every night and you're eating a lot of healthy whole foods, getting a decent amount of protein in, your body's going to recover from each workout and be able to train more often. The issue with training every day or every other day, which is what I followed for an extended period of time, is that you limit your ability to train with intensity and train with more volume and fully recover. I found it to be somewhat useful and effective. You're almost kind of shocking the muscle, and there's like increased inflammation if you're hitting your arms every other day or every day. They're like kind of almost always semi-pumped. But overall, I think it limits your ability to progress in the gym, going to that extreme. So I think the upper limit of how often you should train your arms is on 2 days rest, meaning if we hit arms on Monday, we rest Tuesday and Wednesday, we hit them again on Thursday. That's my personal belief, having experimented with all kinds of different frequencies and adjusting my intensity, my volume, my rest time between sets, my tempo, tweaking and moving all these things around, stepping back, assessing how my body responded. I think that's kind of the target that you should aim for. Now again, if you're just starting out once a week, after 6 months, maybe 4 or 5 days rest in between. Then once you've been training consistently for a year and you've been pushing yourself, I think you should aim for just 2 or 3 days rest in between your arm training. So what that would look like in terms of your split, I think like a upper or like a chest back, shoulders, like a push-pull day, and then a leg day, and then an arm day for your first 3 days, and then repeat that for day 4, 5, and 6. So you'd go chest, back, shoulders, leg day, arm day. That's 6 days. And then the 7th day, a rest day. That way you're hitting your arms twice a week. So you're resting, I guess, a little bit more than 3 days, but I think that's roughly going to get you there. And then if you're super, super focused on trying to grow your arms, I would adjust the split even further to potentially do maybe an upper lower day where you focus on hitting your arms in your upper lower day. So you go upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, rest. That way you're hitting your arms a little bit more frequently and you're just resting 2 days in between. each session. But then you're sacrificing potentially growing your chest and your back because you're mixing arms in. So there's always things that you're tweaking and moving. But I think aiming for 2 to 3 arm sessions a week is what you should shoot for in terms of the optimal amount of stimulus while also balancing recovery. And the last thing I want you to leave you guys with is that you should really think about your training as, how can I elevate the stimulus, meaning make the intensity on my muscle more extreme while also upping my ability to recover from that. And it's this kind of back and forth relationship where you add more sets or you add more intensity or you start training more often, but then the demand on recovery is higher, so you're going to be more fatigued. You might need to make sure that you go to bed earlier. You might need to cut an activity out of your social schedule. You might need to eat an extra meal. So it's kind of this cohesive balance where you add in extra stimulus, which is going to benefit you if you couple it with the proper recovery. And so my recommendation is assuming that you're doing all the ideal recovery things and your body can actually recoup from hitting the arms once every couple days. If you can do that, that's going to be the ideal cocktail to lead to the most growth over time, based on my personal experience. I hope that helps you and you can factor that into your arm training, go out there and make some gains, baby.